want to take you through how you can plan to have the best year in your business. Who's not where they thought they would be at the beginning of this year when you were planning? Why am I working far more than I wanted to for far less money? You get frustrated and you panic and you go, why isn't this working? There's only so long that you can sustain that before you're just going to burn out or just become incredibly unhappy. Is it likely that this is going to change? What if in 6 months you're in exactly the same place? You might have to think about making a big change. I use this time of year to think about the year I've just had in business, the good, the bad, what I enjoyed, what I didn't, and then I evaluate how I want my business to change. What went well and I want to do more of it, what went badly and I want to change it, what 1% did I miss that have now turned into a bigger problem in the business that I now need to fix. But I also look ahead to potential problems that could be coming, and then I try to solve those before they're actually a problem that's materialized. Because we can often be so close to the activity of the business that we forget about the ways in which our business is starting to change and evolve that we don't like. We had our plan, we had our focus, we had the journey we were setting out on, and we're not where we wanted to be. Just by show of hands, who's not where they thought they would be at the beginning of this year when you were planning? Okay, it happens frequently. And by the way, you're not alone, because it happens to me too. And it happens basically every year. I make my plan in January, and then slowly but surely things change and evolve, and some are good, some are decisions that you've got to make for the better, for the business, but then there are some things that have just come out of kilter. There's these little niggling things in my business that I just keep going, it's not a big enough problem yet, so I'm just going to leave that there knowing that it's not optimized, it's not perfect, but I've got these bigger things to think about. But what you'll find is these little fires in your business will start to engulf the whole business, and it becomes a way bigger problem and a harder one to solve if left unchecked. Does that make sense? Yeah? And so these are some of the things I think about. I think about my traffic. We'll come back and circle back on these in a second. I think about my funnels and the process I have for my marketing. I think about the way in which I'm doing sales. Again, we'll come back to that in a minute. I think about my products. I think about avatar. Okay. Team. And time. So if you're making notes, just write those down. There are other things in the business that you can be thinking about, but these are some of the main ones. I'm thinking about these, and I'm questioning each category. And I want you to be thinking about this today, and I want you to be taking time to make some notes. But what I don't want you to do is leave today and then just go, well, that was a great session. I'll just dive straight back into the business that I had, roll into January, and I'm doing everything the same way that I always did. I actually want you to take some time between now and the new year and reorientate the business. Have a look at the ship of your business. Now we're looking not in it, but we're looking on it. We're going, oh yeah, I'm not liking the direction my traffic is going and the effort I'm putting in. I'm not liking the funnel that I've got. We've kind of gone a little bit astray. I've done so many split tests at this point that my messaging is actually way off from what I wanted it to be, which is having a knock-on effect of the avatar. So you think about all of this and you look at the shit and you go, no, I'm getting you back on course. So traffic, for example, we're all trying different traffic strategies. YouTube, Facebook, paid ads on both those platforms, Instagram. There's LinkedIn, there's Google, there's all these different things you're doing. I want you to think about all of your traffic activity, and I want you to look back on the last year. I want you to think about the ones that are working well for the business and the ones that are not working well for the business. And I want you to think about the ones that aren't working well. Is it that there's just a little bit more optimization to be done and we feel like we could probably get there? The evidence of the last year is telling us that we're close. Or will you look back on the last year and think, do you know what, I've been slugging away at this particular traffic strategy and I'm nowhere close to getting this thing to work. Then you have to decide, is this fruitful for me to keep plugging away at this particular one? Or should I be reallocating some of my time to a different strategy? So we just have to evaluate these things, right? Like for me, what's a good example? Okay, so
hey, real quick, I hope you're enjoying this content. If you are and you're ready to make 2025 your greatest year in business, connect with even more awesome people and take every area of your marketing and sales to the next level, I'd love to invite you to check out the priority list for one of the greatest marketing and sales conferences on the face of the planet. It's called AdCon. It's happening here in London. It's April 27th to the 29th. And we're going to have over 1,000 people here for one of the most exciting, electrifying, and educational experiences you've ever been a part of. At the time of recording this, we're currently in the middle of priority, which means you get a chance to jump on the priority list and get some discounts and some amazing bonuses and all sorts of goodies. So click the button or the link that's in the description box for more details. And if you're watching this when the promotion for priority is already finished, still go to adcon.co.uk and you can check out the event. Tickets are likely still on sale, or hopefully they are. We've had a sellout the last 3 years, but chances are you're good for a ticket if you click that link and check it out as quickly as you can. Hope to see you there. Anyway, back to the video.
Paid traffic always worked for us. It's constantly changing. It can be a pain in the butt. Sometimes campaigns work and don't work, and ads get disapproved and some get approved. But the overarching view is that paid traffic works. We get traffic on command, and we can start to optimize this thing. So that's something that's working. So I will keep plugging away at that because it's working. It's good for the business. Then we've got our YouTube channel. Okay. If I look back on years gone by when I've done this type of exercise in December, we've looked at our YouTube channel and we've gone, shoot, it's not where I wanted it to be. Where I planned in January to be and where I am now in December of whatever given year it is, YouTube's been a thorn in my side. It's been really frustrating, but that's an example of one where I've looked at and I've gone, do you know what? But I can see that there's fruit there. I can see that it's working and we're not where we want to be, but I know that with a bit more optimization, it's going to be good. I know that the long-term play with YouTube is worth it, so I'm going to keep plugging away. And this year, we've actually had a good year on YouTube, actually. We've kept plugging away, and now our channel's doing really, really well. And we're getting some great clients from our channel, producing some great content on there, building a good following, so we're really happy with how that's gone. And then we've got examples of traffic platforms I've looked at and I've gone, this just isn't worth our time at the moment. And one of those is building an online community and trying to monetize that online community as a traffic platform. So building a Facebook group and a Facebook community and trying to, cultivate some kind of activity in there. And then maybe there's a way to drive that traffic to an offer. We even had it with one of our school groups. Are any of you in our online coaches school group? Anyone? Few of you? Okay, so you've probably seen that I haven't posted in there in a while. And the reason is I've just had to evaluate all of the activity in my business. I can't spin too many plates. My team can't spin too many plates. And we just haven't seen the evidence that the school group or a Facebook group for us is producing the kind of meaningful result that we need. So we've had to hit pause. Now, I must stress, that doesn't mean that a school group or a Facebook group won't work for some of you in the room. Okay? Different strategies, connect with different people in different businesses and different industries. So you might find that there's a strategy that's working incredibly well for you that someone else in the room is now going to kill from their business because it's just not optimized. So that was an example of one for us. I look back in the last year, I'm like, it's just not pulling anywhere close to where we need to be, and it's becoming a distraction. But unless I take this moment to step back and look at the journey of my business, unless I step back, I could just keep plugging away without realizing. I could get into 2025, head down, and just so used to the tasks of the day. This is what I do. I start my day and I do a bit of traffic there and I do this thing there and I do this thing there, not realizing that 4 out of the 10 things you're doing are actually giving you diminishing returns. And if you took that time and you put it back into something else that was showing evidence of being promising, then you'd actually get a greater return overall in your business. Are you tracking with me so far? Okay. So that's just one thing. That's just traffic. I'm evaluating that. My funnels, okay? My webinar presentation, my the process that's getting people registered, the emails that are being sent to people as follow-up in that particular funnel, the headlines that I'm trying on the registration page. Over the course of the year, you're constantly tweaking these things, aren't you? Or at least you should be. Unless you're like Fez, one of our clients who just launched his one webinar and left it there for a whole year and it made him hundreds of thousands of dollars. But that's not a typical result. Usually we have to tweak the headline, change the design. And when you're running paid ads with a webinar, you're trying to make those two things work together, sometimes based on what the paid traffic platform's telling you and the data over here, you start to make changes over here to the funnel. And you might not realize when you've just got your head down and you're making these 1% changes, you change that one word in the headline, then you change another word at the end of the headline, and then you scrap that whole headline a couple of months down the line and you tried a whole new headline, then you change the design of the page, and then the presentation was tweaked slightly, then you re-recorded it, but you left out a piece that you didn't realize you left out because you're just trying to juggle so much. Before you know it, the ship of your webinar is way off course, and it's maybe pulling in completely the wrong people now. But you just didn't realize because you're doing these 1% changes that you didn't actually realize was taking it completely off course. And so what I do every year when I get to this time of year is I look at my funnels, I look at my landing pages, my copy, my headlines. I think, is all of this still aligning with where I want to be in my business? The type of people that I'm wanting to attract, the business that I want to have. Because we can be getting some of the wrong people on the phone, for example, and then we're going, God, why am I speaking to people like this that have this type of situation, and they're not the type of people that I want. But you don't realize it was a lot of front-loaded 1% that now changed the course of your business by 20 or 30%, and you're getting some of the wrong people coming onto the phone. Are you with me? Yeah? So I assess my whole funnel. You should all do it. Your webinars, the email promotions that you're doing, the email follow-up that you have. Because this can happen in reverse, by the way. Check this out. What if you have some automated emails in your funnel sequences, and they were, for the current moment, they were optimized. That was optimized copy for the person that you want in your business, right? So those emails were great. You were really happy with them. Then you've got these 1% changes that are actually going in the right direction. So you're actually tightening up the business. You're actually doing the right things. You're learning more and more about the type of avatar that you want and the type of person that you want. And the more sales calls you're having, the more you're realizing, I want more people like that. So then you go tweak your headline to make it speak to the right people. And you don't realize that you've got an automated email sequence that's 6 months old that's speaking to your old avatar. Tracking with me? So it happens both ways. We can be tweaking the business by the 1% and it's going in a better direction now, but we've got outdated stuff in our funnel, or it can go the other way. And we don't realize that all the tweaks that we're making to try to solve a problem over here is causing another problem over there. So all of that to say, I look at my funnels every December and I think, what do I like about it? What don't I like about it? Let me refresh the emails, maybe refresh the headline, but I'm not doing it because I'm trying to make these 1% tweaks. I'm looking over that funnel. Okay, where do I want to go? What's the plan for the new year? Yeah? So that's funnels. Sales. The 1% that can make a really big difference is if you had a sales process that you initially started with, and let's say you're using, how many of you are using at least very closely our push and pull framework, the 2 call framework? Okay, very cool. So a prime example would be you've got the push and the pull sales framework, which it just works insanely well for almost every industry. And no matter who you're trying to speak to, how can you go wrong not selling them on the first call, but building incredible desire and then jumping on the second call and offering them a place, and they've been marinating on it for the last day or two, wanting a space, not trying to think of reasons why they shouldn't do it. It's such a good model, but the 1% would be that you're trying to stick to the process, you've got your script, that when you first rewrote well, we give you the script, right? But now you've made your changes, and so you've got your script. This is your master script. And then you speak to that person who throws you a curveball. You think, I'm not sure how to handle this one. And so you just say something new, something random. Maybe it was for the better. Maybe it actually took you off course a little bit. But now that became a bit of a habit. And you don't know whether that's actually helping the sales process or not. But now that's just a new thing that you say on a sales call. And then there's another new little thing that you say. And now there's a new thing that you say, but it replaces the thing you're supposed to say within the script and the framework. And before you know it, what was 100% of the script you were following, you could get into April 2024, let's say we're talking about January, you could get to April 2024 and your script is 60% of what it was before. And there's 40% new mess in there. And then you get to the end of the first call and you haven't got your tie downs, you haven't got the commitment from the person that they want the program, and then you jump onto the second call and they ghost you or they don't show up. or they jump on the second call, but the buying demand has dwindled and you're not really sure why, and you get frustrated and you panic and you go, why isn't this working? It's because of all the 1% that happened. So you have to keep reevaluating, like, am I staying on track? And on track would be, I'm doing my 1% that are in the right direction, that I'm keeping conscious attention on. This stuff's good, and I'm changing my master script. I'm making some good decisions. When I say this, I get a really good response from people. So I'm making a conscious effort to change that in the script, and I'm staying on track. And if you do that, now over the course of the year, January, February, March, April, May, you've got to keep going, am I going off track, or shall I be pulling myself back in play? Let me pull up my sales script. Let me pull up my sales process. Let me look at my application page questions. Am I still happy with how the sales process is working? Okay, still tracking with me? Yep, is this helpful? Yeah, okay. Products. We all do this. We panic about the product that we're trying to sell, and perhaps you're not selling it on the phone as much as you thought you would, or you're not getting the type of conversion that you expected. And so you think about changing your product, you change your price point, maybe you add a lower ticket product because your 5K offer, you're struggling to sell it on the phone. You don't realize that if you just hone in your sales skills, you will be able to close 5Ks, but you panic, you worry. And so you go, let me try and put a plaster on the wound, on the issue here. I'm not selling 5Ks. Let me launch a $1,000 product. Because then if I'm on the phone with someone and they're not taking my 5K offer, at least I got something to sell them. So now you got your $1,000 product. I won't have you put your hand up, but I know many of you have done this one. Let me just put a lower ticket thing together. I'm spending money on paid ads to acquire these leads. So let me just try sell them something. Before you know it, you're now prematurely offering the 1K thing. You're cannibalizing all sales of your 5K now further, right? Because now you're struggling to sell the 5K. Now you're losing your confidence on it. You've launched a 1K. You feel like that's going to at least get you a little bit of revenue coming through. And so now you're too quickly jumping from 5 to 1. Yeah, you're on the phone with a prospect and they ask how much it is. And you say it's $5,000. They go, $5,000, that's a lot. And you go, no problem, I've got a 1K thing. You jump straight to it, you know? But if the 1K thing wasn't there, you would have been able to push a little bit harder to get a yes or a no for the 5K, and that would get you a greater return. So it's just one example of a change we can make with our products. And before we know it, we're here in December, we just roll into January, we don't really plan this, we don't really think about it, and so we just roll into January with the same 1K thing, 5K thing. And then now you're struggling to sell the 1K thing, and so you launch a $27 low ticket thing because you think, gosh, let me just make a little bit of money from the ad spend on the way in, and so let me launch that, not realizing that you're creating a really big problem in the business. If you're struggling to sell your primary offer on the phone, I'm just telling you this right now, if you're struggling to sell your primary offer on the phone, and you think that maybe if you have a low ticket product that will just be a nice stepping stone, that will solve your conversion problem for the high ticket, I promise you, you're off track. You are off track. You've now created another funnel that needs to be optimized, products that need to be delivered. You're still going to have to try to scale the ads into that thing, and you're going to get even more frustrated because you're going to be spending $5,000 on your ads. You're going to get $2,000 back in return from the low ticket funnel. Now you're out of pocket 3K. Now you're panicking on the phone when you even get some people on there, and you're not optimal on the phone again. And it's a mess. That's why, who remembers the 1-1-1 rule that I've talked about in the past? Anyone? One person. Nice. Oh, 2, 3, 4. Okay, cool. It gets better. So the 1-1-1 rule is that, look, in the very beginning, and this is slightly altered now. I've changed my opinion on this ever so slightly. We were talking about this yesterday at the party, Andy, I know. But the 1-1-1 rule is, look, have one offer, one funnel, and one traffic source, and focus on that until you get it to a decent machine, right? There's no golden number, but let's say $20,000 a month, or 4 clients at $5,000, like you're getting some momentum with it. One offer, one funnel, one traffic source. And the idea here, the principle is that if you start adding too much, you're just going to get distracted. You're giving yourself overwhelm. There's too much administrative stuff to look after. And you're not going to solve the problem of your business, not making enough money, not landing enough clients, not getting enough eyeballs. You're not going to solve those problems by adding more into the business. I guarantee you. If your first product isn't selling, you're not going to solve that problem by adding another product. If your current funnel is not performing, you're not going to solve that problem by adding another funnel into the business. All you're doing now is you've got 2 funnels that are probably underperforming. And you're stretched. You can give 50% time to each one. Then you panic again, you launch your low ticket things, and now you've got a funnel for that. You've got a third funnel. You're giving 33.3% effort to each funnel. Each one's getting even less of your time and attention, meaning the chances of success is lower still. Yeah? Tracking with me? The only thing that's slightly changed, based on our chat yesterday, is traffic. I actually do think that having your one core offer, having your one core funnel, and maybe a couple of traffic sources. So I used to say 1, but traffic is just getting a bit harder. It's harder to get a paid ad running and working. And so if you're trying to slug away at a particular paid traffic platform and it's not quite clicking yet, if you've got the time allocation, then you might think about adding in another traffic source to supplement. But we're certainly not going to do 5. We're not going to do 10. We're just going to keep our traffic activity slim so that we can focus on it and wait till we get a result with it. Okay? So that's products. All right? Then we've got avatar. Now this will constantly change, or at least that's been my experience. So don't be afraid of that. In fact, I'm realizing more and more with clients that come to us for help that I just assume, wrongly, I realize now, I just assume that everyone's really clear on this. Everyone's really clear on who their avatar is and who they want as a client and exactly what type of problem they have and exactly what solution you solve. And speaking to more and more people, I've begun to realize that that's just not the case. How many of you over the course of the last 12 months, at some point, you've doubted a little bit that you're speaking to the right person? Anyone? Okay, thanks for being honest. That's like half the room, you know? And can I be honest with you? Me too. And I doubt it all the time. So like if a funnel starts to underperform for a period of time, then I question this. But I actually find it a helpful question to ask myself. Am I still speaking to the right person? Because the 1% changes in my sales funnels might have been causing me to speak to the wrong person now. And so now I'm like realizing, okay, we've actually got clients coming into our program, but are they the right people? Or we've got calls coming onto the calendar, but are they actually the right type of people? I've got ads running. Here's a good one. I've got ads running. Am I still happy with the messaging in the ad? Is it still speaking to the right person? Because when you get some ads that are working and working quite well, you can keep them on for quite a long period of time. I've got ads that are still running that are a year old, 2 years old. But if I'm not paying attention to the assets that I'm putting out there, the messaging that I'm putting out there, I'm changing loads up at the funnel, I'm changing loads in the product, but I've still got an ad that's running that's speaking to the slightly wrong avatar. And so either one or two things is going to happen. I'm going to have the wrong person connecting with the ad copy and coming through into my funnel and they had no business being there. Or, and here's the one that many of you have probably experienced, or your costs for traffic are starting to go up. The results are going down. So opt-in rate is going down, costs are going up, and you're wondering what the heck's going on. And it's because you don't realize you've been making changes in the funnel that are good, but you're leaving on ads that are slightly older and the messaging isn't quite connecting. So we have to reevaluate all of this. Who's the avatar? Who do I actually want in the business? And is all of my messaging aligning with the right people? Yeah? 2 more. Team. So just looking at the help that you're getting in your business. This might be people that you've employed. It might be VAs. It might be outsourcers. It might be agencies that you've got that are running your ads and things like this. You know, all of the help that you've got in the business, you've got to assess that again. Are you getting value for money with the people that you have around you that are helping you? And you might have to have some hard conversations. You might have to look at the agencies that you've got and think, you know what, I don't just want to roll into January and keep paying this person a 2K or a 3K per month retainer to run my Facebook ads because it's just easier than facing the problem that the ads currently aren't working, and if I cut the agency off, I've got to pick up that problem again. We're business owners, we're going to have problems all the time. It doesn't get any, like we've picked this life. You do realize that, right? We've picked this life, and it isn't as all of the Instagram people say that it is all the time. And I can't stand here at the front and say, okay, like I've got a really big business now, and so everything's fine and dandy, and I'm happy all the time, and there's no problems, and everything's great. Okay? I have problems all the time. My problems are just perhaps slightly bigger than some of you in the room. But relative to where you are, we have the same problems. And so we've picked this life, we have to deal with it. There's going to be ups and downs and bumps in the road. So when things aren't optimized with a business owner, all falls back to us. And so we can't shy away from these problems when they come up. We have to hit them head on, and we have to try to make the best long-term decision. So again, evaluating in December this month, I'm looking at all of the agencies that we're using, or maybe the one agency that you're using, and I'm looking at the results they're getting, and I'm looking at the money that I'm putting in, and I'm looking at what I'm getting out, and I'm looking down the road and going, is it likely that this is going to change? Because if it's not likely that it's going to change, but currently the results I'm getting from the agency are well underperforming, and I've had them for 6 months, you might have to think about making a big change. And it's scary, because you go, shoot, but if I ditch them, now I've got this big problem of traffic in my business that I've got to pick up again. But you don't realize that making the easier, more comfortable decision of just spending the money again every month to have the agency, what if in 6 months you're in exactly the same place? Exactly the same place or worse? Or what if you made the hard decision, had a far more challenging 3-month period, but by month 6, where you would have just coasted and done the same stuff and your business isn't growing and it's less profitable now, what if by month 6 you went through the hard 3 months and now your business is double the size? You made a really good decision. You with me? So you've got to be evaluating this. What decisions do you need to make? What changes do you need to make as you look into January and you're really trying to be as optimized and as efficient as you possibly can? Last one, time. Sorry if you can't see on this side. Time. How are you spending your time? How are you spending your time? In January, you probably thought about the ways in which you want to spend your time, the things you enjoy doing in the business, the things that you don't enjoy doing in the business. And we're here in December, 11 months later, and maybe you're doing a lot of the stuff that you didn't want to do, and you're not doing as much of the stuff that you did want to do, okay? Anyone doing things now that beginning of the year you said you would get off your plate? Anyone? Yeah, okay. We're all doing it, right? Like I'm looking at my business now, I'm like, shoot, I've still got things on my plate that I shouldn't be doing, that I don't want to be doing. I want to design the business that I enjoy, that I will have fun with. Because if I'm not having fun, and if you're not having fun in your business, there's only so long that you can sustain that before you're just going to burn out, close down the business, or just become incredibly unhappy. That you've made your bed, now you're laying in it, and it's really uncomfortable. It's like stones in the bed. You're just laying in it every night, right? So we've got to get those stones out. We've got to get back to a nice, comfortable business. We have to plan it. We have to look at all those stones. I don't know why I'm sticking with this, but here we go. Looking at all the stones that I found in my bed now. Like, I don't like that one, get rid of that one. Actually, I don't like any of them. So we're getting rid of all of the stones. This is a stupid analogy. So you've got to look at the time. You've got to go, how do I want to spend my time? And you reorientate again. The ship's gone off course. Dang, when I look at it now, I'm like way off course with how I'm spending my time. Okay, how am I going to tighten that back up? Like, what's the plan moving forward? But you got to start to look back to know how you want to change moving forward. All right.